All right. Hey, ladies. Happy Wednesday. I'm so excited to be here. Right now, we have Jacinta here, and she is a private chef, ladies. Okay? A private chef. Like, honestly, that is one of my life goals is to have a private chef. And I am so excited. This is Money Making May. And we are here as a representation to let you guys know that entrepreneurship is possible, right? And so Jacinta's going to tell us her story about how she became a private chef. And I'm excited to hear this story. So, Jacinta, can you say hi to the ladies and can you just tell us a little bit about yourself?
Hi, ladies. I am a, what can I still say young? Yes, 40 is young. I'm about to be 40 in less than 2 months. And I've always loved food. Always loved food, love to cook, love to watch cooking shows. I used to watch cooking shows when I was young on my little black and white TV. I used to watch Julia Child and Emerald, and I used to watch Iron Chef Japan. I just used to watch all of these cooking shows, and I never really had aspirations to be a chef at that time. Like I wanted to be everything: a teacher, a lawyer, a psychologist. I wanted to be, wanted to be everything. I went to school for psychology, and I worked for Verizon Communications for 15 years. And so I was very much so in corporate America. And I was good at what I did. And I kept trying to like get promoted and promoted. And I would get little things and I would elevate a little bit and then stop, elevate a little bit and then stop. And what pushed me to take that leap was rejection. And
Mm.
so I got a little rejection and I was very frustrated. I was so frustrated. I called my sister one day. I was at work. I called her and I went into like a little back office room and I was on the phone with her crying. And she was like, "Why are you crying?" And she was like, "Why are you crying? What are you crying for? Like, don't let these people control, your success." She was like, "You know how to cook. You cook really good. Like, you need to sell some dinners and let people taste your food." And I was like, "Okay." And that's pretty much like that laid the groundwork to it. It evolved obviously a little more after that, but it was rejection that pushed me towards starting my business.
Wow. So something similar like that happened to me in corporate America, and that pushed me to actually leave America. So I was working for a company and I went into my manager's office. This was maybe our second meeting. And he was like, "Well, what are your goals?" And I was like, "Well, my goals in this company is to become the executive assistant to the president." That company, the president was a woman and she got the company to like $100 billion, right? So that
Mm.
was my goal. And he sat back, he crossed his arms, and he was like, "What makes you think you can do that?"
Mm.
Right? And
Mm.
I'm like, well, she's a woman in business and I would like to work under her, right? And so
Right.
ever since then, I was like, you know what? I can do this on my own. I can do this myself. I can start my own business. And so
Mhm.
that's how I ended up starting my business because I was kind of pushed into purpose, right? And
Yeah.
after that day, I have put a whole bunch of pictures up, magazines of places I wanted to travel to. And I took a one-way flight to Thailand. And
Mm.
I had a whole plan. But anyways, let's get back. Let's get back to you. One of the things you mentioned is rejection. So how were you able to sell these meals that you had prepared to people and you've never sold before? How were you able to do that?
Well, like I said, my sister was the person who pushed me. Like my sister, I used to do hair years before I had started at that job. And my sister owned her salon. I had another really good girlfriend who has, she does hair too. She has her salon. And she was like, you could come here and sell dinners to my clients. You could come up to the shop. The girls, they'll buy some dinners and you can do it like that. And that's what I did. She was like, don't try to be perfect. Don't try to, just do it. Like, and my other good girlfriend, she was like, just do it. Don't think about it. Just do it. Right. And you can fine tune stuff as you go. And that's what I did. I picked something like that I knew I could make that would be easy to kind of do in bulk. And I sold some dinners. Like I think my first meal was like I did some honey barbecue wings and some mac and cheese. You know why people we love mac and cheese. And I did like some sauteed string beans and I took it up to the shop and I sold dinners to all of the girls in my sister shop. We all support each other. So they all bought something. The clients bought stuff. I went over to my other girlfriend's shop. Her clients bought stuff. She bought stuff. And I started doing it like at first I did it like on the weekends.
Mhm.
And I was like, okay, I'm getting a little good, little feedback. Okay. And then eventually I was like, these people at my job need food too. They be ordering food or, all day at work. So I was like, they could order from me. And I started putting together a menu and I would like send it to them and tell my coworkers. And my coworkers started ordering food for me. And it was literally, I would get up, go to work, I would come home at like 8 o'clock and I would be up all night cooking dinners because it was to the point where I would get like 20 orders for work and I would be up all night long cooking food and putting these little dinners together and then I would go to work with big boxes of food. And I was just selling to my coworkers. I was like, if I'm gonna be here, like I'm gonna do something for me and not just for the company that's not doing anything for me. And
I
it just
love it.
it branched off like that.
I love it. And you know what I love? It's a couple things that you said, right? You said you sacrifice. So in business, ladies, we have to sacrifice. We have to sacrifice our time so we're able to be able to create the products and services for our clients. And she said she was up until about what, 8 or 9 each night after work, right?
I would get home at like 8 o'clock and I would be
Oh,
up
wow.
until 3, 4 o'clock in the morning
Wow.
cooking and putting everything together and then get up at 6 and get ready to go to work. So yeah, it
Wow.
was long days, long nights. And I did that for months. I did that for months.
So you have to put in the work, ladies. If you're a business owner, you have to take action and put in the work. Another key thing that Miss Jacinta said was that she had a support system. It is so essential to have a support system and also to be able to network, right? So she networked through her sister's friends, and then she had her network at her company, right? So sometimes we feel like we don't know enough people, right? But somebody knows somebody who needs your product and service. So we have to think bigger than just who we know, right? So how did you go from making these meals, right, to becoming a private luxury chef? Like, what does luxury mean to you? And how did you transition from just making the meals and selling them to like the coworkers and your sister's friends?
So if anyone who knows me knows that I am like extra. I'm Mrs. Do Too Much. So for me, luxury is quality. Luxury
Mm.
is decadence. Luxury is exclusivity, right? And these are all of the things like I think about when I travel. I love to travel. I like to stay in like nice hotel. I'm not one of those people who just want to stay anywhere. That I want to make sure it's somewhere nice. It's something that when you think about it, you just are like, ooh, it takes you back to your experience there. And so for me, I knew that I needed to do dinners to get my feet wet, right? So that people could know who I am, what my food tastes like, and that I can do the work, right? But I wanted to scale that so that people would one take me serious and I wouldn't just be another person selling dinners. So it was actually my good girlfriend, one of my, I call her my business bestie. And she was like, I saw this girl on Instagram and she was doing a dinner for somebody and she was cooking for them. And she was like, that's you. You should do that. Like, that's, I definitely could see you doing that. And I thought about it and I was like, that is something that I would like to do. Like, I can curate an experience for a particular client, and I can do it my way. And that way it's exclusive. It can be like whatever they want. And so I began to brand my cooking to the way I wanted my business to look. Like, so that meant like, no, I'm probably not the person you should call if you want hamburgers and hot dogs on the grill. Like, I don't want no shade because I love a good burger on the grill. But if you want some lobster, you want, some lamb chops, you want something nice, you want some champagne, you want a nice little dinner for two, a romantic table setting, something upscale. I want people to think about me and my business. And so even when I started doing my dinners, I started offering lobster mashed potatoes with salmon and jumbo lump crab cakes, and I started pricing it up a little bit higher. So like you probably won't pay $10 for this. You may pay $30, $40 for this, but it's going to be worth it because of what I'm offering. So I slowly just started kind of setting the expectation of this is what she's presenting and this is the direction she's going. And when I started doing my private chef thing, I did it for like some friends that I had from high school. They reached out to me, asked me to do a private chef for a book club. They had like a ladies' night book club thing. And I thought that was so cute. I was like, this is me. This is grown. This is me jumping out there and doing it. And once I did that, I loved it. I was like, this is my lane. This is what I want to do.
Yes, I love that. And I love the fact that you mentioned a few different things. You mentioned branding yourself, right? So you mentioned how you wanted to have a quality luxury brand where people come to you and they have an excellent experience, right? So, ladies, think about your customers' experience when they're coming to you. Are they getting quality customer service, right? We have to start there, right? When we're talking about building our brands, and they have to be consistent with who
Yes.
we are and what it is that we have to offer. Another thing that Jacinta mentioned was pricing, right? You have to know your worth. And when your worth increase, when your skills increase, when your products are more quality, you can raise your pricing like Jacinta talked about. She hit on some very key points. And the last thing was lifestyle, right? And I love that she said, I like to live a luxury lifestyle, right? So your audience on social media, they can see that, okay, she lives a very good, high quality lifestyle, right? Because they buy into you and not the product, right? So I love that you said that. And so now we're talking about lifestyle. I noticed that you have a lot of healthy meals on your menu. So can you tell us more about living a healthy lifestyle and meal prepping? Because I saw that you meal prep as well.
Yes. So for me, that is a little more personal because
Mm.
um, I would say maybe I'm about a year and a half out now, but about 2 years ago, I started a journey for a healthier lifestyle for myself. And I had surgery, I had weight loss surgery, the sleeve, because my weight had just escalated like everyone else's during the pandemic, like just being shut in. And I'm a chef and I cook, and I'm talking about I cook good for myself. And I was like, it was nothing to do during the pandemic. So I was just in there cooking everything. I mean, it was just crazy. And I bake. So I was cooking cakes. If I had a sweet tooth, I'm making a butter cake, I'm making a cheesecake. And it was just, it got to the point where it started to be uncomfortable. I've
Mm.
always been a thick girl, you know, always been plus size, always embraced it, always felt comfortable and confident in my skin. But when I got to the point where I did not feel like that, like I felt uncomfortable, I started being in pain. I have really bad asthma. It was like just really exacerbating the asthma. It was just terrible. I didn't feel confident anymore. So I knew I had to do something about it. And in doing that, and I'm like, how I'm supposed to be doing this? And I'm a chef and I'm cooking all this, you know, good food, but not always the most healthy food. And I wanted to start like incorporating health and healthier choices in my food, because when we hear healthy, we think, ugh, you know, it's not always the most appealing. So I wanted to show that you could still make stuff that was good and decadent and it still be healthy. So like I started doing sugar-free desserts. And like my sister, her husband, like he's diabetic and he loves sweets. He has a real bad sweet tooth like me. And I made him a cheesecake one day, right? And it was a sugar-free cheesecake. And I took him this cheesecake and he was like, "Are you sure this is sugar-free?" I'm like, "Yes, I
Are you
promise
sure
you."
you're free?
And my sister was like, "I don't want no sugar free. I want my stuff to have sugar in it." And she tasted it and she was like, "It really tastes like it has sugar in it." And I was like, "You can still make things good, but
Yeah.
make it healthier." Like I found a way to make sugar free banana pudding. Like I made my own sweet condensed milk. It's ways that you can still give quality food and have flavor and all of the things that we love without it being as bad in terms of what we put in our body. So it was just it was personal for me, and I wanted my business to reflect that because my business is me. So I wanted to have that part of me incorporated in my business as well.
Yeah, I love that because it wasn't just you, right? I gained 30 pounds over the pandemic. And I remember going to the doctor and I'm like, oh my gosh, I gained 30 pounds. And she was like, everybody did.
Child, I gained your 30, my 30, somebody else's, probably the audience 30. I gained everybody's weight. It was, it was terrible. It was
Yeah.
terrible.
And so, and I love the way that you saw a problem, not just in yourself, but in other people, and you created a solution for it, right? So if you're in business and say it's something personal that you may have a problem with, then and you have a solution for it, you can help other people. And that's how I became a life and business coach, right? Because
Yeah.
I know that in our community, we didn't have too many people that were supporting Black women in business, right? That was giving them exposure. So because I saw that problem, I decided to be the one to give them exposure, right? So that's how this whole show came about, right? So now that we're talking about problems and solutions and luxury, I want to talk more about your silverware line because you have a silverware collection. Like, what? How did that come about?
That was something that came about during the pandemic as well, right?
Mhm.
So I knew that I think everybody kind of honed into entrepreneurship during the pandemic. Mine started before that, but it kind of changed how we went about doing things, right? And I think with when everything shut down, it was a fear of wow, like I need to be able to make money if I'm stuck in the house. You know, like, and everybody started online shopping even more and things like that. So I was like, what can I do that is an extension of my brand, that can make me money without me having to actually leave out and go in someone's house, but I still want to be in someone's house. And I felt like that was a way of me still putting my brand in someone else's house without me physically being there. So I was like, One of the things that I do when I offer like my private chef, my dinner for twos, I do a full table setting, and I'll do like the nice chargers, the nice plateware, the table centerpieces, and all of that. And I was like, I should do like a dining collection, and I can start with silverware. So I started looking like how to source these things. And once I found like the right path, I was like, I want my silverware to look luxurious. Didn't want it to look cheap. I wanted it to have weight on it. I kind of had a vision for how I knew I wanted it to look and what I didn't want it to look like. And I just kind of pieced it together. And then it's also about kind of scaling down too, right? Because in the beginning, when it started, I had like 10 different colors. I was like, I have to kind of trim the fat where I can trim the fat. And I just took my time and I got samples, and then I scaled it down further, and I was proud with what I came up with. I love the finished product, and like I said, it's about sticking to your brand and like just holding fast to that. So no, you won't pay $10 for this set of silverware. But it is if you want a quality silverware that will last and look very nice with a nice table setting, then that's the route you want to go. And then I plan to extend that with the wine glasses, the plating, and just branch off from there.
This is amazing. I absolutely love it. Like, I love your business. And when I wanted to ask you a question, I saw on your website that you travel, right?
Yeah.
So, how far do you travel? Or is it just like in the United States, like to do the setups and the private chef? Like, tell us more about this. Like, she's created so many different aspects to her business where she's able to generate income, and that's what you have to do, and you have to take action on those ideas. So can you tell us more about the travel portion of your business?
That was something that came about because, for one, I love to travel. I
Mm,
love to travel, and I love to travel out the country.
mm,
So
mm.
I'm not limited to where I would
Wow.
go. Like, as long as my client is, willing to pay for a travel private chef, I'm there. I've been to several different countries. I've been to Thailand. I loved it. I did love it. It was, and the food there was amazing.
Amazing.
Oh my God.
The
Food was
food in Thailand
amazing.
is
Oh
amazing.
my God. That's like my top, top, maybe top two
Yeah.
food in Thailand was absolutely amazing. It was so good. But nothing is off limits to me. Like, I will travel wherever because I love to travel. So for me, it's a two in one. I feel like that's something
Right.
that feeds my need. I'm a Gemini, so I'm an air sign, and I love to move around. So um yeah, I would travel anywhere. It's no limits on that for me.
Yes, I love that,
Mhm.
right? You took everything that you love and you would incorporate it in one business. I love to travel too. So in the future, I'm going to be hosting retreats in different countries, right?
Yes.
Different states for women. So, ladies, if you have a business, incorporate what you love. This is your passion, right? This is something this is your life work that you're going to be doing for your life. So, incorporate and add new products, add new services, right? Because if you love it, your tribe is going to be attracted to you because you're going to attract those people who love the same things that you love, right? And two more questions. One more question. Um, as business owners, like you said, you've been in business for a while and you just started this one a year and a half ago. Like, we have challenges, right? So, what was one of the biggest obstacles you had to overcome in your business?
Mm, I would say actually right now, and we touched on this briefly, but right now is I'm facing one of the hardest challenges that I've had, just period. Not just specific to my business, but it is impacting my business. My mom is has been diagnosed with cancer, and I've been pretty much her primary caretaker. I've been glued to her side since. And in doing that, I've had to pretty much like pause my business. I've had to put my business on hold. And as an entrepreneur, it is scary, when you're not working, because if you don't work, in most cases, unless you have set up those avenues where you can get, residual, you can create products or services that don't require you to actually have to interface with the client. You take a hit on that. And for me, it wasn't a question. It's still not a question. You have to know what comes first, and you have to prioritize those things, and you have to trust that things will work out, the way that they're meant to work out. And a lot of that, with any challenge, but when it comes to your business, like you spoke to, you incorporate you in your business because it is your business. And for me, I pride myself on being consistent, being professional, but relatable to my clients. And it's not a one size fits all approach. Like, I adapt to how my clients are, and I meet them where they need to be met. But in providing or in branding my business as a luxury business and quality and all of those great things, um, I hold true to that. So when people see me and they interact with me, I'm confident that they will speak highly of me, that they will say, "Oh no, I've never had any bad experiences with her," things of that nature. So if I'm not able to do something, or if I need to take a step back, my clients will still be my clients. And I know that once I'm able to jump back in, like, I'll be able to do so with no love loss, no business loss, because I have maintained those business standards that I put in place for myself. And I'm very hard on myself. So I have very high, standards for myself and for my business. And that helps me to kind of get through what I'm getting through.
Yeah, and sometimes in business we do have to step back, right? Like I was telling her before, I had to step back last year for about 2 months and do some healing work, right? And sometimes that's okay, right?
Yes.
Because you have to put you first, your family first, right? And like she said, if you operate in excellence, people are still going to be there. You're still going to have those customers. But as women, we have to just sometimes just take time for ourselves and breathe.
Yeah.
And especially as Black women, sometimes we
Yes.
just have to be like, okay, everything is going to be okay. Because a lot of times we just running off survival mode, running,
Yeah.
running, running, running,
Yeah.
right? And we have to
Yeah.
just step back and be like, you know what? God got me. I'm okay.
Yeah.
And everything is going to work in my favor as it always has, right?
Yeah.
Now look at you right here on the live. Got the trademark going on,
I
right?
know.
So that he works in mysterious ways, right? So one of the last things we want to know is how can we get in contact with you, and what do you have planned for the future?
Um, you can always contact me via my website, which is www.whosfeedingyou.com. You can always send me an email, which is Jacinta, my first name, at whosfeedingyou.com. And then if you just want to look at some food porn, you can always follow me on Instagram. And
Okay.
it is who's feeding you underscore LLC. And that's where I put all of my pictures and my videos and things like that. You can always reach out to me there as well. In terms of the future, like I mentioned to you earlier, I did literally today just get my confirmations for my trademarks were approved for both my business name and my logo. I don't know if you guys can see, but I created my own logo and I got it trademarked today. So I'm excited about that. And I just plan to incorporate that in all of my products. So I do want to scale my dining collection. And I also am in the works of creating my own seasoning line. So I've already started sourcing products for that, my ingredients for some seasoning blends. And once I kind of get through this little
Huh? Yeah.
hiccup here, then that is what will be coming next for me.
Yes, I love it. And honestly, like I see you on national TV,
Oh,
right?
thank
I
you.
see,
Thank
okay, we're gonna speak this thing for you. Seriously, I see so much
you.
happening for you in the future. So we want to thank you so much for coming on, sharing your story and sharing your business with us. And bye, ladies. Have a good Wednesday. Thank you, ladies, for showing up.
Thank you for having me.